life. It's Friday morning. You've made it through another week. Well done. Congratulations. And you've now experienced probably a whole week or maybe even 2 weeks with the kids back to school. So I wonder what that's like for you. Lots of people celebrating that on LinkedIn and various other social media. I'm not sure that I want to celebrate it. I kind of miss the kids on the one hand, being around. And on the other hand, it's, yeah, it makes certain things easier, but then I've got to walk to school and do all of that stuff as well. What do you feel about all of that, Maz?
Well, I mean, I say having mine because one was at college and one's at school. So the one that was at college, I mean, we've had a lot of testing times this summer. The one that was at college, he randomly dropped into conversation, actually via my mum, that he got a distinction in his first year at college. And I went, tell me.
I love that.
He said, oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Just thought I'd tell you, Mum, I got a distinction. By the way, can I get some cash for the weekend?
So I was like, okay, that's great. So his friends had jobs for him, and what I have highlighted is just how difficult it is when you are neurodivergent and young, and seemingly young and with it, and when you say somebody's autistic, people have an assumption of what that looks like, and he's not what that people would think would
no
be.
He doesn't wear like a grey flannel suit with like
hanging down most of the time, but
yeah, that's right.
So anyway, he struggled to get a job, and there's just been a lot of tension here because I go from swinging from mum mode of when I was your age I had 3 jobs sort of thing, and then realizing that he's then been in tears and said that I feel really down and low about that. Then I feel bad because I feel like I haven't done enough to help him, which is my ADHD. Then I'm trying to juggle the youngest, so I've sort of almost ditched trying to do much work this summer, which financially then becomes a problem, to doing stuff with him this summer. And all the while, in all honesty, I felt totally overwhelmed and over everything that you could possibly be. And I know that a lot of parents have made jokes about it out there, but it really hasn't been. And and I've been in tears to you this morning, that it's not been fun and it's not a joke. And I think for potentially women that are menopausal, people that work at home, people that are neurodivergent, or whatever, it's not fun. And when people sort of joke about it, one good thing is my son did get a job though the other day.
Yeah, good.
Literally a minute from our house.
I love that. So that means he'll probably go because it's just a minute from the house, right?
Well, and it was really funny because the difference in him was incredible, and it wasn't really about the money. It was he was the same as everybody else, and now he's part of something.
Self-esteem, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's big.
And and I think a lot of people are feeling it. I've just been upset. I'm not going to put any lies. I've just been in tears earlier because of some of the stuff we're going to talk about in a minute as well.
Yeah.
Is that I feel a bit like with the world at the moment, which then goes into like everything. And a lot of this is because I feel like a lot of people just aren't being honest with who they are and what they are, which is quite nicely brings us on to the person that has come on that doesn't normally do this, but I'm
very pleased. I'm very pleased that he's come to grace us with his presence today. So welcome everybody, Mike Winnet, joining us from the Orange Room today. It's a real room as well. Hello, Mike.
Hi, you all right? Yeah, no, I'm on set, so we've got a big office and this is studio, so we build bespoke sets for clients if they're shooting here. We don't have many that turn up to our studio to film. Normally it's on location or their offices or we hire somewhere, but yeah. So we've got someone today, I can't say who they are, but their branding's orange. So
the branding's orange and that is a real room. Mike demonstrated it to us earlier. Look, there he goes. It's not one of those rooms that everybody... Mike, what would you say if people are using those kind of virtual rooms, and they always tend to use the same one, would you say it's better for them to use a virtual room or just whatever they actually have behind them? Because to me, those virtual rooms, especially if they're doing it online, it eats up a lot of broadband width, tends to make it more laggy. And B, I don't think it really sells them as them anyway.
I don't know. To be honest, I see so many people making mistakes with content point blank in general that there's no saving some people. So
If you've
I'd
got
say,
long
like,
hair, it doesn't work anyway if you use.
you just
So-
basically just make, like, how hard is it just to put, like, kind of just put a bit of a step behind it? It's quite easy, right?
It's not
Shoot
that
on an
difficult.
angle if you need to get some depth or whatever. Put something in the
Yeah.
background, like, so especially if you're doing lots of them. But you know, we can talk
What
about
are,
that
what
stuff
are
in a
the
bit.
mate? Come on then. Let's get straight into that. So this is what you do, by the way, for anyone that hasn't met Mike before. You make content, right?
No, well, I mean, that's part of it. It's most people come to me because they want to make more money, more sales.
Oh, right.
So
you've
it's
got
how.
a background in. We spoke some time ago. You've got a background in what I training, is that right? And then you progressed into doing.
Yeah, so I had a business. I set up a business with 12 grand savings, and I wrote 10 million on a piece of paper, date 3 years in the future. And I set up a business in an industry I had no experience in before, didn't have an audience in before, I'd never worked in before. And I managed to scale that and sell it for £8 million 2.5 years later with no salespeople. So I guess I've done probably what less than 1% of people do. Didn't need investment. And I came up with a way of marketing the business and selling that meant I didn't even need salespeople. And now I help businesses set up that same process in their own business ultimately. But the difference between me and most people that sell this shit is I've actually achieved the thing that I sell. Most people haven't achieved the thing they sell and then go, actually, it's easier. I can teach estate agents how to get 100 landlords, or letting agents how to get 100 landlords. I used to be an estate agent that wasn't very good, so now I teach other estate agents how to, and that's how most people sell courses, right? So long story short, I scaled it, sold it, made a few million quid. And then I thought, what do I do now? So I just basically documented my journey with what did I do with my money once I sold, because I got told I wasn't allowed to work for 2 years. I ended up doing a YouTube channel, got it to 100,000, less than, what was it? Put in the top 1% of YouTube channels in the world. That people don't realize that, but if you hit 100,000 in the top 1% in the world,
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even call myself a content creator. So I've got a unique skill set where I know how to create content that gets attention. I know how to create content that might help me scale and sell a business for multiple millions in 2.5 years. I know how to scale businesses, exit businesses. And when COVID hit, I just said, if anybody needs help to keep their business afloat, give me a shout, because I've got nothing else to do. And 34 businesses said, can you help us? So now I've got a business that does this with 18 people in it. It's an accidental business. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a very good business model, but when you're halfway through hell, keep going is what I say, right? So I'll scale this one. I'll sell this one. But yeah, this is a shot business model, to be honest. The agency model's dead, right? But my last business model was really smart. And that's if I was setting up a business now, that's kind of what I would do. I'd do it that way around. Because it's the same skill set for me. I could build a unique piece of content for you. Only one person could use that, right?
Yep.
I could use exactly the same skill set, know how to storyboard it, write the hook, learning outcomes, create it. And if it's, let's just say, how to protect lorries from low bridge strikes, which is a huge thing, I can go and sell that to what, 30, 40, 50 trucking companies. It's the same amount of effort, time to create it, only now I've got 30, 40 times more profit in it.
Yep.
So agency is dead, right? It's just, if anyone watching this thinking of starting a marketing agency or content creation business, don't bother. Unless you're silly or stupid, like, go ahead, but nah, I wouldn't recommend it.
What is the main mistake you're seeing out there then?
What, content-wise?
Yeah.
Like, people make disposable content is the biggest thing. Jump on a trend. Like, yeah, great. If you're the 173rd person to turn yourself into an action figure on LinkedIn, who cares? Can you remember the 173rd person did the Harlem Shake? No. And I go, how do people buy? It's like, this is how simple this stuff is. It blows my mind, basically, watching people on LinkedIn. And I just think, what are you doing? Where do we go before? Say, let's just say now, like, your boiler started making a noise or broke.
Yep.
You're probably going to do one or two things. You're probably going to go on LinkedIn and say, can anyone recommend a?
Yep.
Ask someone to recommend to you.
You're going to ask a question. Yeah.
Or you go on Google and go, plumber in Warrington, best plumbers for this, whatever boiler it is that you've got, right? So if we know that's how people buy in real life, why, when it comes to LinkedIn, I could pretty much ask my family what I do for a living. They couldn't tell you. So we've got this stupid idea where we need to build rapport, We need to build a personal brand. People to know, no, it's not. Do they find you first? And then when someone looks at you for the first time, do you look like you can help them fix the problem they've got? It's that simple. But where do we go before we buy from anyone? So let's just say if someone said, can anyone recommend a marketing and sales agency? And someone goes, check out Mike Winnet on LinkedIn. Where are you going to go now? We'll follow the logic through. Where are you going to go now? So you've done a post saying, can anyone help me generate leads? And someone's gone, speak to Mike Winnet. What are you going to do now if someone's left that name in the comments?
You're just going to go and have a look at your profile.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the main bits of content we need on that profile?
Something that shows that you can do what you do.
However, most people don't realize this, and they're just posting shite every day that's new every single day. Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
And this is how I help. This is how I'm lazy, and I try and do the least amount of work to make sales. So I want to make the least amount of content I can make. So I'm a content creator that didn't make a video for 2 years, and the same 7 videos I made 2 years ago on average generates 75 grand a month in sales for me, even now 2 years later.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a grown man on YouTube.
Because you put the effort into those. Yeah.
Not just that, I know what my ideal client is looking for at the point they need to fix a problem, where they go when they're looking for it, and what they need to see to believe me, trust me, get in touch. The selling happens when I've got them. But I see all these people going, you need to be front of mind. You need to be posting at 11 o'clock. You need to post every single day. You don't. You literally don't. I'll give you an example now. I took a client recently, had 4,000 connections on his LinkedIn. And I said, let's get rid of most of your connections. I took him down to 600 connections. Then I looked at what his biggest paying customers actually paid him for in the last 18 months, created 7 videos in total. 4 of them are put on his LinkedIn profile. The other 3, well, the complete total of 7, I put in the other places I go, people naturally go to. So you'll probably go on Google before you buy from me. Who owns Google? Who owns YouTube? Google. So I now create a sales page, which is a YouTube channel. That's it. It's not a YouTube channel so I can upload every single piece of content my business makes. I want the least amount of content on there that explains clearly what it is that I do, who I do it for, prove that I can fix the problem, and then put them in the other place people go. Would you buy from someone before you landed on their website? Probably not. So again, why haven't we got the most highly optimized content that we know converts sales on your website? Put them there as well. So same bits of content now I've got in like 8 or 9 different places because I've also turned them into other sales and marketing assets too. In 6 weeks, I equaled, bearing in mind, we went from 4,000 to 600. In 6 weeks, I equaled his best ever sales year following this process.
Yep. Mike,
this is easy. But you know what it is? Too many people that haven't achieved anything, they sell personal brands. Building an audience to sell personal brand is very easy to do because you're not actually selling anything. You're selling dreams to dreamers. Easy.
There's lots of that.
You now try and apply that for the guy that sells solar panels, or the guy that sells alarm room systems for factories, or the guy who sells like engineering parts for construction lines.
Yep.
You talking about, being vulnerable on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock and turn yourselves into an action figure, I guarantee doesn't generate any sales for the business. Where I could just look at your business and go, right, okay. And by the way, that guy who I'm talking about, he had 165 videos on his YouTube channel. Fast forward a year later, now he's only got 53 bits of content on his YouTube channel, and we took his subscribers from 3,000 subscribers in 3 years to 68,500 in 11 months.
Yeah, because I'd say, as somebody who not, I think there's so much out there now. There's almost too much, isn't there? So I know for me, probably not the same, but it's in the similar sort of vein. If I go to a restaurant and there's too much on there, too much on the menu, or I go anywhere and there's too much choice there, I walk away from it because it's just too much choice. Whereas, like you say, if you can just say...
People are lazy and people are stupid. If we just run on that basis, so let's make it idiot-proof. What it is that I do, what problems I fix, and who I fix it for. That's it.
And so does that have to
I've made millions and millions of pounds doing this. And not just for me, I've done it for 175 businesses in the last 2 years as well. Without a website, by the way.
Would you say, I know for me, and Graham knows that the issues, and you'll understand, because you said it at the beginning of this conversation, it's a massive issue for me. It probably is for you, because you've said it. the whole every man and his dog now is selling courses. They're not courses at all. It's a load of content that's being put onto something that.
Well, AI's made that even easier, by the way. You can just literally watch someone else's course and get AI to rewrite it for you in your tonality.
Yeah, well,
when something's easy, it's probably going to be abused. But also, if it's easy, it's probably not worth doing.
Well, it depends, and this is the problem. It depends if it's done well, because and I think it sort of just shows how, like you said, people are lazy, and they are. I think they are. I think we live in a world now where people want stuff yesterday. I'm probably guilty of it myself at times. And so when it comes to doing anything of worth, so like you said, it's like, oh, I'm going to teach people how to do whatever. But actually, they've not really been doing it for very long, or they're not being very successful for it. So do you think, I know for me, having a business, it's been having to sort of look at, okay, well, I started doing this, but the bottom's fallen out of doing that well. So if you want to do it well, you're going to struggle to get the work now. It doesn't matter how good, you still maybe get the work. So in terms of, like you said, people being able to see what you do you recommend people just do one thing, two things? How would one choose what they do?
To help you sell more, or to get noticed, get seen?
What I would sell. So let's just say I came to you. Let's just say.
Well, get known for one thing. People need to anchor you, right? So I used to sell e-learning. Yeah. I didn't want to be known as e-learning boy. Yeah. That's why I scaled the business and sold it. I just knew that was an industry I could create a business that I could scale and exit. I had the model. I just picked that industry because I knew it was ripe to sell into. I think the problem with too many people is they try and turn their passion into a business. When the reality is I have got zero interest in e-learning. I still don't know how to make an e-learning course.
So what happens if I came to you then? I am passionate about what I do.
Well, you can be passionate. That's a bonus. But I'm saying too many people go, I really enjoy doing caricatures of people. Great. Yeah. I now want to turn it into a caricature business. Excellent. And then when you ask them, because I like to talk numbers, and this is where I compare myself to anyone that sells personal brand or LinkedIn strategy, most people couldn't even tell you what they're aiming for. Most people couldn't. So I always go with people. I go, well, I knew I wanted to sell a business for 10 million in 3 years. So I knew I better get a move on. So what do I need to do to make that happen? So where do I need to be at 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? I need to be looking at potential buyers in month 24. See what I mean? Month 30. I go to most of my clients when I first meet them and I go, so what do you actually want to achieve? Oh, I want to sell the business. Cool. For how much? When? Because if you can't put a date on it or a number on it, we can sell your business tomorrow if you want for £3.
But a skeptic would say here, Mike, that this works if what you're really interested in is making money. But if what you're interested in is actually doing something with purpose, right, for the sake of the purpose, right, because that purpose has worth in the world, then it doesn't necessarily to you as a person. If it's important to you as a person to do that, then it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the right thing to do it that way, right? You might say to me,
yeah, in that case, I wouldn't work with you, to answer the question.
Yeah, right. Because ultimately, I'm not going to scale in the way that you need to scale in order to make this work.
This is why I prefer to work with B2Bs that actually fix problems and sell to budget holders.
Yeah.
Again, and when I go back to the very beginning, how did you scale a business and sell it so quickly? Because I went, where is there a genuine need, and where is someone spending a budget they've got to spend? Listen, I'm going to say a really mad story now, and I've got a piece of content actually called "Sell Yachts, Not Dinghies." It was based on this, right? Yeah. So I created e-learning courses, and I created a suite of e-learning courses and tried to sell it to job seekers, and I put a £40 price on it. Mm-hmm. I got a partnership with Monster and Indeed, and they did an email shot to 1.2 million people. This is like early doors. I'd only just launched. I only had 4 courses, by the way. I was just testing if it would work. I managed to sell 7 packages at £40. I realized this is a shop model. I went and took exactly the same product, but sold it to corporates for either £5,000 a year or £10,000 a year, and I sold 340, and it was the exact same product.
Yeah. This is what
many people try and sell to people that haven't got any money, or they've got a little bit of money and they're going, it's a big decision. It's hard. If I'm a job seeker, me spending £40 is a big decision. If you're the head of learning development at Mothercare or Matalan or Boots, and I'm going, all your learners can get access to all these resources for 10 grand a year, you go, boom, where do I sign? And my retention in that business was 99.3%. In the 2.5 years, 340 customers, only one person cancelled their subscription. One in 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Solving a real problem for someone that's got a budget that they've got assigned to fix this problem. Too many people set up businesses, and when I talk to them, honestly, sometimes it blows my mind because the numbers don't stack up. And sometimes I think, I blame Simon Scribb for this. Who's told you that you should be doing this? There's too many people going, yes, you should quit your job. You should start a business. What's your dream? Go and turn that into a business. No, my dream was never to have an e-learning business or help people increase the learner uptake within their corporates. I realized my dream was to have a stack of money to invest in stuff. And I realized I could make 10 years worth of money in probably 2 if I just set up a business that solved a real problem and set it up as a real alternative to what was out there. Genuine USPs, not I'm the USP the way I do it, which is again another mad thing that I hear people say. It's just like blows my mind, really.
Yeah, I know for me over time, like Graham's been working with me for a period of time, and I think it's I've had to sort of have that idea of what I want to do, what I was good at, what I wanted to do, but also somebody's approached me because they'd seen me, they liked the ideas, they saw that I could bring something to the table that they can't do, and they've got a whole skill set that I business-wise haven't got. And so I've had to sort of flex there to go, okay, well, actually, I have to think about, like you said, where the money is, because whilst not compromising my values, but I think you're right. I mean, I've been to various sales things, and it horrified me, to be quite honest. It horrified.
You mean sales things, and you've gone to these day things where they're trying to say something, rush to the back of the room, pay now?
No. It was some people advising on how to. I went because I went with somebody, but it was advising me how I could sell, supposedly.
Yeah.
I was a bit like this about it anyway, and I was very much so when I left. Because as I said, I think in that respect, it depended on what you were selling as well. And in terms of what your morally, where you sat with that.
Yeah, 100%. This is the thing. I think sales gets a bit of a bad rep. People think of it's like a dirty word, but it's not though, right? If you've got a solution that actually fixes a genuine problem that someone's got or a business has got, and you can genuinely help them achieve their goal, it's your duty to help other businesses achieve that goal. If you're selling something you know doesn't work to people that aren't the right person and it's not going to help, and you're doing it unethically, that's a bad thing. So if I can show you how a business just like yours, here's an example. I've got a client now. Their goal was to add another 800. I love to talk numbers because this is where I think the difference between working with us and working with, look how many impressions that post got. Look how big our audience is. But it's all if none of those impressions buy and none of that audience is the people that buy from you. So I like to go, let's look through your existing client base. Who's your biggest earners within your business? What problem did you solve for them? And one of my clients had Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal spent 80 grand with them to fix a problem. So I said, right, now when it comes to content, and this is why I was talking about being different now, I like to create sales assets more than marketing assets. So now I said, right, your goal is to add 800 grand to your business. Arsenal spent 80 grand. So that's 10% of your target. We've got one person that's pretty much already spent that. So if I had to make a piece of content now, because I'm a lazy salesperson that allows sales really easily, really quickly, what would I make? It would be, when Arsenal came to us, this is how my content would be. When Arsenal came to us, they told us this was an issue that they had. They had some restraints with that. The season ends on one day, starts on another. So there was a small window to do the work. Due to the high footfall, it had to be durable because of how many thousands of people walked through. They had lots of other events going on, so it couldn't interrupt other events. So now I've gone, here are the problems that this client's got. Okay, so now when I write that piece of content for that business, I'm going to say, you've probably got these problems. Here's how we make sure that it doesn't impact you and we can get around those problems. Here's what the results look like. And here's how Arsenal have added an extra 1.6 million in revenue or reduce their carbon footprint by 32%, whatever the great thing is that we want to achieve. Now the salesperson in me says, what do I do on LinkedIn? Now on LinkedIn, I'm not going to post that. So I'm not going to post that and go, hey, everyone, we've worked with Arsenal. What I'm going to do is go, we sold to 3 people at Arsenal, the stadium manager, the facilities manager, and head of health and safety. So I'm going to make sure we're salespeople now. Target's 800 grand. Is there anybody we can think of that might have the same restraints Arsenal had, and that if I could demonstrate I can do it for Arsenal, they might be interested in us doing it for them? Can we think of those people now?
Other football clubs, same people.
No brainer. No brainer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would go, if it's me, because I think of content very differently to it. You know, your happy, clappy personal brand person. I would go, right, I'm going to create this Arsenal. Here's what we did for Arsenal. Here's the problem. Here's how we fix it. Set it as the first video on my featured. So the first video that these people are going to see is me demonstrating I can fix this problem for their business very well. Then I'm going to connect with 3 people at each Premier League club. So Aston Villa, Everton, Man City, Chelsea. I'm not going to add a message to say, hey, I'm Mike and I help businesses just like yours. What's the point? My profile clearly tells people what I do. Send my connection request. Then when they connect, I send them a DM saying, as we've only just met, you missed the video about the Arsenal Stadium upgrade I did on Monday. Here's a link to it. Now I've got a link to my YouTube channel, which I've optimized with my other 6 bits of content on there. They are my pitch perfect salespeople. They're doing the work for me. In 4 days, I booked appointments with 9 other Premier League teams. So in 4 days, I've managed to get 720 grand's worth of business in their pipeline. Not sold to, obviously, they've still got to sell to them. They'd never, ever done that with a Premier League club before, because someone that had sold them LinkedIn strategy before had gone, just keep posting every single day and hopefully someone will see it and maybe they'll get in touch. I'm not leaving how much money I earn in someone else's hands. I could go and do this quite easily. So that's another example of a different client, not the one that we sold a year's worth in 6 weeks. You don't need much content to make sales. You don't need a huge audience. If anything, a bigger audience actually impacts you. But, you know, people don't realize this. It's mad because they're copying the wrong kids' homework. You've got people that I can teach you how to scale your business to 10 million, sat at the kitchen table. You've never hired an employee. How the fuck can you teach me how to do that? You work for Pepsi. You work for Pepsi for 3 years.
Can I ask you something, Mike? So I'm just little old me doing what I do. And I'm not going to lie here. And again, Graham and I spoke about this morning about how I'm not going to get on here and whinge about women at all, because I'm not that's not what game I'm in, so to speak. Because I think there's a lot of different, dynamics out there, whether it's women not supporting women, women supporting women, men supporting women. You know, I have to say I get a lot of support from male colleagues. I do. Probably more than female, to be quite honest. If they know that I can do what I can do, they absolutely respect me, and we just cut to the chase and just get on with it. And then there's men supporting men or not, or whatever. But I said, actually, you see that men tend to just get on with it, really. I bet that there's a whole other thing behind that. But let's just say, and I'm not going to lie here, I had thought, and I'm going to be completely honest here with you about speaking to you about my business, but there's going to be part of me who doesn't mix in this big business world. And there is part of me that, you know, I do have ADHD, and I do work really hard with the rejection sensitivity. And I see quite a lot of coaches out there who may lose very good people because I would be scared to speak to someone like you.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Doing it wrong, and how are you going to deal with me? Because it totally, you're in my eye line to be speaking to, because I absolutely respect you've spoken about it. That's why I wanted to get you on here, because I think there's so much crap out there, quite frankly. And we'll talk about your YouTube thing, which is what I saw, which is what I wanted you to talk about as well. How would you deal with someone like me? Because I absolutely will be committed, and Graham knows I will absolutely be committed. But
yeah, well, like it's a weird one. Like, unless a business ticks the boxes, like I proactively go after certain types of businesses, the ones I know I can 100% help.
Yeah.
So it makes no difference to me if you come to me and you don't fit the model, or you're not going to like. Like, I know it sounds mad. I don't need to sell to every single person that inquires. Like, unless you tick the boxes for me, I'm not going to sell to you. Which goes back to that. But yeah, does it intimidate some people? I don't really care. I know it sounds horrible, but
what would be?
But also, by the way, you don't deal with me through the whole case. Like I said, like you would then deal with our production manager, our production team, script writers. If you look at all the testimonials from customers, they go, unreal team, make me feel so comfortable, relaxed. I'm not the person behind the camera. I'm not going to be the person on your shoot. I'm the person that identifies the problems in your business, what goals you want to achieve, and what we need to do to get there. Then I've got experts, 18 of them, that then take you through each part of the process. So you're not dealing with me the whole way through. Like, this isn't like the Mike McGann show or the Mike Winnet show. This is just, but like, this is the hardest thing for people to do because they've been hanging around in woo-woo Facebook groups all the time, or they've been told comfortable lies for so long. But like, I don't think this stuff is unreasonable. For me to actually go, what are we trying to achieve here? And be honest and tell me what customers you've got and how much they pay you. The difference between me is and other marketing agencies, if you went to a marketing agency and said, I want to start a podcast, they would go, great. This is how much it is per episode. Here's how long it's going to take to shoot. Where I would go, why? Because you're choosing a vehicle here. You're not choosing the destination, you're choosing a vehicle. So what are you thinking this podcast is going to help you achieve? Okay, so, actually, I want to increase sales. So before we do that, imagine now we watch you and you've got the best podcast in the world. Where are we going to go to after we watch that podcast? We've already spoke about it earlier. We're going to go to your LinkedIn profile. We're going to go on Google and we're going to your website. Now, if none of those things are optimized to sell, it would be wrong of me to go, let's do that podcast. If the goal is to sell more, let's get these things fixed first. So you could do the shittest podcast in the world, but any traffic that goes checks you out, you've got more likely to close than making the best podcast in the world that isn't going to convert. And also, by the way, most people don't need a podcast. And I have this argument pretty much every week. Well, Diary of a CEO does really well. Did you listen to Stephen Bartlett when he had Social Chain? No. Why do people take notice of Stephen Bartlett? Because he sold his business. Did anyone really listen to me when I had Learning Heroes, e-learning company? You weren't interested in speaking to me then. No. I only had to look like an expert to the people I fixed problems to. The only time people started listening to me was when I sold a business for 8 million quid and I started doing something interesting. Too many people try and do the 1% stuff when it's like you can't even tell me how many sales you need to hit your sales goals this year. Like, let's get that bit sorted first, and you will probably be in a better position than me just going, brilliant, Marianne, let's just make that podcast that you want.
I think that's what I was saying was that if someone came to you, so long as
I had someone who's ADHD, by the way, that said they hated it because I wasn't as excited about their idea as they were. And I was like, because you've told me 5 different ideas on the same call. Like, if you throw me 5 tennis balls, how many am I going to catch? None.
Yep. And
that's the same as your audience, by the way. So going back to that thing, is it better to be known for one thing? Yes. Because if I throw 1 tennis ball at you, are you going to catch it? You know, try to catch 2 rabbits running around in a field. You ain't catching any of them.
Yeah, you've created a mechanism, and you want that mechanism to be as straightforward as possible. You want someone to move from A
that's what you want.
Yeah, you want someone to move from A to B, right?
I mean, it's funny because I would say actually for somebody with me that's got ADHD, I quite like it when somebody does, I don't say force, but asks the right questions to get the right things out of me. And Graham, you asked me when you first started working with me, and I did I was a bit like, all right, what is it you want to do? And you said until, I can't remember what it was. It was something about a star or something. I can't remember what it was. I think maybe I'd seen it on something. And it was about that thing that is above all else, what you want to do.
Your North Star in your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that. And actually, I think you've said before, Graham, that actually in that respect, I am quite good in that I don't chase off looking for this thing and this thing and this thing. Fundamentally, there's still that one thing that
it's very common actually with a lot of people who are neurodivergent that they're just literally wake up that morning with like the next 10 things that they want to do in their business.
And I think it's wrong, by the way, for people to sell to those in a way where it's going like, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. It's like, no, they don't need that. But this is the problem with us, or me in particular, not us as a business. The rest of the team are dead nice. I'm probably the least likable person within the business, right? But it's like, my goal is to help you achieve the goals that you've told me. You're telling me that's what you want to achieve. Now, if you don't want to listen to the advice, bearing in mind, you've come to me for the advice because what you're currently doing isn't working. Sound. Like, it makes no difference to me because I know my numbers. I only need 40 businesses paying me a set amount of money, then I can sell this business. So if you're not one of them 40, I'm not asked because I already know what my 40 would be because what did I say about content? If I sell to Arsenal, I'm going to sell to the Premier League clubs. So if someone comes along and goes, hey, by the way, we play hockey, I'll be go, that's great. You don't want to listen to me, sound. I'm not going to beg you or chase you or bend the way I work.
Because actually what you're saying, Mike, isn't rocket science, right? What you're saying is that actually if you
so obvious,
pull everything back into business terms and away from sort of emotional connection and, you know, emotional intelligence and all of that sort of thing, right? If you're going to do business, you do business to make money, right? You do.
Well, but this is the thing. I don't know why. And some people seem to like, oh, I do it because I've got purpose. I do it because I want to do this thing. Like, if that's the case, go and volunteer. Like, I look at it like this. I earn enough money and have enough of a lifestyle where I can do the things I actually care about and enjoy doing in my own time. Create a business that gives you the financial vehicle and the free time to do all those nice things. Because I'll tell you what, if you try and turn your passion, this is not, by the way, there is an exception. So it's not, none of this is black and white, areas are gray, but as a general rule in a lot of the things I say, if you try and turn your passion into a business, you stop being passionate about it. I know people that love art now hate it because they're getting commissioned on stuff that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
I know people, and we all know this, right? I know people that love dogs. Now they hate having to deal with Mandy on a Thursday walking her 8 dogs all the time. They're actually starting to hate dogs. Do you see what I mean? It's like not everything that you do that you enjoy has to be turned into a business. But we've been sold this, especially during COVID, by people sat in the room selling you the dream on courses that you've all rushed to buy. It's like, come on now. It's easy to tell people they can turn the thing that they love into a business and everything's going to be brilliant for money, by the way, where I'm telling you for free, don't.
I wonder if actually that.
And I don't even enjoy this business, by the way. Like, I don't, this isn't my passion.
That thought there by you saying that is that, you know, obviously what I do, I teach people how to teach. That's what my passion is. And it's what, you know, I've studied it. It works. And I wonder if actually what, as you're saying, is that COVID hit. And I think gradually what's happened is every man and his dog wants to do that, but they're not learning how to do it properly because they don't have to. That's been my one biggest problem, was they don't have to do it. So if you don't have to do something, you're not going to do it.
Well, look how many property gurus or property people that sell like sourcing and all these, they become property experts doing a 14-hour course in Basingstoke on a Saturday. By the way, this is the maddest thing when you think about it. The bloke on stage is telling you how to quit the 9 to 5. He's working Saturday.
Yeah.
He's working Saturday to tell you this, by the way. Like, he's not making his money from property. He's making his money from telling you that you can make. Now, imagine a business model that turned 1,000 customers into 1,000 competitors. Just like common sense would say it's a flawed business model, right? I know how to make millions of pounds through property, so I'm going to sell you how to do it for £97. And now the next time a property comes up, which I could make loads of money from, I've got 1,000 other people trying to look at it, buy it. Doesn't make sense. If someone's selling you how to do something, usually it means that the well's run dry.
Exactly that. Yeah. And
that's again, as a general rule. There are exceptions.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid enough to say everything's like this, but you know who the first, and this is genuine, you know who the first millionaire was during the gold rush? Guy who sold the shovels. 100. That's a true stat.
The thing that could
he wasn't out there digging.
Yep.
So think about that. And that's, by the way, I'm just in a documentary at the moment called Click the Link Below. It premieres actually in Sweden next week and then in Norway next month. And it's all about that. So I shot this like 2 years ago. But yeah, it's on the big screen. It's quite interesting. But it's about specifically that. And I talked to this guy, and he was an independent filmmaker. And during the process of making the documentary, he ran out of money. He needed 30,000 to. So what did he do? He then created a course. He created a course teaching other independent filmmakers how to raise money for the film. The irony being, he didn't have any money for his film.
Yep.
And then it follows him on his journey trying to sell it. And it's but it goes to show it's kind of the thing, right? Whereas I think I approach this from, you should listen to me over happy clappy, join an engagement pod, and this is how you grow an audience, and let's all like each other's posts. And when I do a post, guys, everybody in the office jump on it in 20 minutes, which again is a really flawed strategy, and I can explain why if you wanted me to. But I've actually achieved the thing you want to do. You've seen my content or something I've posted, and you've got in touch with me. So you're actually proof that my method works. Now, you don't want to listen to me and it's going to hurt your feelings. Sound.
Well, I think everybody has to learn all the time. You've got to be open to saying, well, actually, I can do things a better way, right? That's an important thing. Even you've got to learn, right, Mike?
Yeah.
What was the last thing you learned?
It's the last thing I learned that was decent.
Yeah. Last bit of advice that you heard that you went, actually, I haven't done that, should do that.
Stretch, probably be gym. Stretching. I've got a bad back, sciatic nerve damage, so probably stretching is really important. I've only appreciated that since I've become 41. So
there you go. 41, mere youngster. But I think one of the things that came out of that conversation as well is it is really, really important to recognize when you've got a business idea, which is a runner, because to put it into any kind of mechanism like you're going to provide, Mike, or you're going to take someone through, if it isn't a runner in the first place, it isn't going to work. It just won't
and I
work.
tell people that, and that's what some people don't like. Like I sat here with a bloke, I was on a call like last week, and I've gone, are you building the community first, or are you trying to get customers first? You're trying to do two things at the same time, which means it's twice as hard, which means to do that, you're going to need twice as much revenue, twice as much budget. We need to make twice as much content. We have two separate strategies. But who's going to pay you? None of the corporates are going to pay you to have access to this client base that doesn't exist. None of the clients are going to come on board, or community members are going to come on board, because they're not getting access to any corporates. Like, you're trying.
Where's the money coming from?
Egg. But I always ask the
question,
like, where's the money coming from? Or like, and why would I choose you? And this is the maddest thing: the number of people, again, because they've been sold these mad courses by Jane in a little Facebook group that she set up in COVID. Well, I'm the USP. People buy from me because I'm me. No one cares. Like, let's list all the companies that we buy from. Who owns Tesco's? Who owns Amazon? You're not buying it because of Jeff Bezos. If anything, you're using it despite him.
Yeah.
Like, all these things, all the biggest companies, we spend this whole personal brand thing and needing to be like, I think it's way less important than people make out. I bet you choose a builder because someone else recommended them, or you found them, saw their work and thought they looked good, and they've done something that looks very similar to the thing that you want. And we can pick any other thing that we buy like that. Like this whole, I'm going to pick this person. Like, what is it? There's this thing in accounting in there. You know the guy.
Would that be why? So for me, in terms of what I sell, I suppose, do, it's been it's literally a race to the bottom in terms of price, because the bigger training companies have come along and they've literally sold it for cheap. Therefore, is that, as you're saying, that if people will only pay for less, I won't. Like, and Graham knows this, I refuse to do that because I'm not doing it, because it goes against what I would want to do. It absolutely goes against what I do, because you're not going to quality in there.
Why, when we had that conversation with someone the other day and they went, there's a problem over here. This is a massive problem for us. It's a massive problem for all of these other businesses that are doing this. We can't solve it because of the way that we're constructed as a business. We're not legally allowed to do it. You could solve it. You could solve it by doing this. That's where, for me, you know, my eyes were like, okay, this is the thing we should now look at. This is the thing where we should build the pipeline around, because ultimately, here's the thing that ultimately nobody else is doing at the moment.
There's two things for that, though, isn't there? When it's like no one else is doing it. Either it's a huge opportunity, or they know something you don't, and you might find out it's a shit idea. So it's a very good idea, or it's a shit idea. Yeah. And I always prefer not to be like, is it called bleeding edge or leading edge? You don't know, often you don't want to be the first. Too many people want to create these. There's a number of people that want to maybe sign an NDA. I've got this really clever idea. No one else has thought about this. And I'm like, really? You don't think anyone else has thought about that? All you've done is combine two different types of recruitment. You know, I'm a full service recruiter. It's not like you're not inventing electricity yet, right?
I think they're saying they have got a problem, because it is a massive problem for that business offering a service of which they need their clients to have got what I do, if you see what I mean, which evidently people don't know where to go to get that, or even that there is somebody that does that. I think it's that they don't know that somebody, because
so do they need to be educated on the problem, or do they need to be educated on the solution, or both? Are they aware that this is a problem? The actual end user, by the way, not the training company saying you can help fix it. The actual person that you would be selling to, are they aware this is a problem? Or does it need to be an education piece that happens first?
I think they're not aware until, so they go to this company to, I don't know if I can say it actually. I suppose I can.
They're not aware that there's a problem, right?
Yeah.
I'd say that the end user isn't aware that there's a problem. However, the motivation for fixing the problem isn't the fact that it's a problem, is the fact that they could actually make more money, which for me is a great motivator, because the fact that you
save
can
time, make more money. Pretty
Yeah.
much everything comes down to those two things that you can get people to spend.
Yeah, I would save
Yeah.
them time and save them money.
and they would make more money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a better
So-
motivator.
So then how would you position yourself there then? So how many of these people can you deal with? Like, what's your maximum capacity? What's your actual goal? So again, you're going, we can solve a problem, but then I'm going, but what are you aiming for? What is your actual thing that you're aiming for? Do you want to retire at 50? Do you want to work 3 days a week? Do you want to earn 20 grand a month?
It's true.
Yeah.
That's the stuff you've got to think
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, great, now we've got a business that you like me. Got a business now that I don't particularly enjoy.
I suspect, though, I'm just going to throw it at you there, that I bet, well, I might be wrong, I might be completely wrong. As a mum that's worked part-time, that's juggled kids and stuff, that question in itself freaks the life out of me, because as a mum, it's like you can't, like, when you've never been able to give your all, that I suspect that's, if ever you do get people that do that, I bet for some, because I know for me as a mum, it would be that I'd be panicking then, like, God, how much should I say? And I think because there is a lot out there of we've got to say that we're doing this much and this much to be successful.
To who? This is what I'm saying. Like, this isn't a post on LinkedIn. This is what I mean.
No.
Too many people have care about the wrong things. Like, why you ask what anyone thinks what your goals are, what people you need to be smashing it. No, you don't.
Because when you've had that experience, that's what I'm saying, is that when you've had the experience that people would only ever work with you in the capacity that, let's just say I was working with you, that it would only be that a business that was X size. That's when you've had those experiences, it can be, what's the word? Demoralizing? I don't know if it's not demoralizing, I suppose, that you've got to be that. That's why I think some of that's where that comes from. Is that you've got to be kind of maxed out in order to be somebody that somebody would want to work with.
I think part of what Marianne's talking about there as well, Mike, is that I think for a lot of people, what their goal is, how successful they want to be, where they want their business to be, etc., isn't defined purely upon what they want. It's defined upon by the other people around them, right? So it's much easier for people to define that if they are an island, right? If it's them, it's the only person that they need to think about within that situation is them. But once people start thinking about their other relationships and what other people want out of them, then it becomes different. Now you probably would argue that back, but if I make enough money, I can earn the time to do this, that, and the other, right? However,
it depends which one you want to start at. Like, you're saying you're a mum there, so straight away I'm going, okay, so tell me what your responsibilities are as a mum and how much time you need to be there.
Yeah,
so now before we decide whether it's a good idea to go and sell this thing to the other person, we're going, well, actually, I know I can't start work before 10 because I've got school run settled down. I need to finish at 2:30. I know that we're going on 6 weeks and the summer's going to be hard. So now all I'm doing is taking what we're trying to achieve and going, so instead of making 10 grand a month, we actually need to make 15 grand for the first 3 months of the year. We can't do any during the summer.
I think that's what I was getting at. I think that's what I was getting at. Is it only businesses that are that big, or is it so long as you know what it is?
Your goal might not even be money, by the way. This is what, again, it's like, it's just, you might just go, I only want to work 3 days a week. So I go, right, what's your bills at the moment? What's a comfortable lifestyle? So now, and this is, again, people don't think about this, right? So let's just go, I only want to work 3 days a week, right? I get a lot of people that say that. So I go, right, okay then. So how much do you want? I need 10 grand a month. I need 10 grand a month. I go, do you need 10 grand a month based on your spending habits now, where you work 5 days a week? Or if you factor in that now you've got 2 extra days where you're not going to be in work, so you're probably going to spend money. So you actually need 15 grand a month, because now you've got more money, more time to spend it. I know it sounds mad, but like, it blows my mind that people don't even think of these things because they've just been told, I'm going to grow my business. To what? Like, give me a destination we're trying to get to and I will help you get there, or tell you what we need to do, or go, no, I don't think this is the one, you know.
And I guess that's why, if that is the narrative that's been out there, you're offering something completely different. So I guess it is a learning experience.
I think they're wrong though. Do you know what I mean? I think those that are out there saying, yes, you can do this, believe you, and all that stuff, I just believe they're wrong.
No, that's what I'm saying is, so when you get people, it's like you've then got to educate them in a completely different way of doing it, because that's what's been out there. And so when I saw your post, you were talking about how I think I might be completely wrong here, about how sort of like calling people out on the crap that's out there. I think that's what it was. Was it
On
YouTube?
what?
About people that were claiming to be this or that, but that's not.
Oh yeah, no, it was no. Again, there's a misconception that I call individuals out. What it was is, so I basically went to an event that Gary Vee was talking at, and I went there, and it was a Success Resources event. I got banned from them, by the way. I'm not allowed to go to any of their events anymore. But I went there, and literally I watched people that pretty much shouldn't have been in that room, really, being told that they could scale their business to 10 million quid, and if they'd only bought this course. And I literally sat through pitches, essentially, and I was sat next to a lady who had a VA business, £20 an hour. There'd be a VA, virtual VA, and she went and bought a blueprint to have a £10 million business in like 8 months. And I said, "Why have you bought that?" Legit, this conversation. I said, "Why have you bought that?" She went, "Oh, I can get my business to be 8 million quid." I said, "But what do you do?" She goes, "I'm a VA." And I went, "What do you charge an hour?" It's £20 an hour. I said, "Right."
It doesn't work. The maths don't work.
Just do the maths. I said, "Or are you going to have 200 VAs working for you? Because that's a whole new skill set now you've got to learn." Bear in mind, you don't know how to run a business to make enough money to sustain yourself. Now you need to. I said, and that's what made me. And I sat through that many of these pitches. I just thought, you know what? By the way, so I didn't create my YouTube channel for any reason. I just found this interesting. And I was sat there in the audience thinking, I've got better qualifications, as in lived experience, scaling the business, exiting the business. And I know how tough this was than the people on stage telling other people if this is easy. So I thought I would still feel embarrassed. I think anyone can fluke one. Probably luck is a huge element. But I'm sat in the audience here, 8 million quid richer, having scaled and set up a business, sold to multiple corporates, been through the exiting process. And I only went there with the intention of, what should I invest my money in? So I wanted to invest in property, crypto, all the things that we get told you can do and make you millions. And I sat there and thought, I'm just going to make a piece of content that basically explains what happens at these events. And I called it the Entrepreneur Formula. That then ended up going onto Netflix and saw me talk to newspapers, Prime Magazine, Time Magazine, all this stuff. And then as I went through that process, I realized that, it's so easy to fake success. And that's when I did the thing with the blank book. I got a blank book to #1 on Amazon in 24 hours, only sold 49 copies. And I basically just exposed that process by doing it, because that's the difference. Anyone can say how to.
Yeah.
I like to say how I. And I think there's a lot more power in that, especially now when we go back to that content question. You asked me, what's the difference? Anyone can go how to. Go on Google now and go, tell me the top 5 things I need to do to create a YouTube video. I can show you how I scaled a YouTube channel to 100,000. So who are you going to listen to? Sarah, that's got 17 YouTube subscribers, or do you want to listen to Mike, who's got 100,000, millions of views, been on Netflix? And that's the difference. How I versus how to. Too many people do this. Too many people use AI to do this. How to. They all copy each other's homework. So what you've got now is like an echo chamber, especially on LinkedIn, created, where it's people that have achieved all, sharing the same stories, telling you what you need to do to achieve the same thing. But you've achieved all. And if people don't want to listen to people that have actually done it, but genuinely documented, go and research me, type my name into Mike Winnet Business into Google and see what comes up, versus a guy you'd never heard of 24 hours ago, who's just popped up in your feed because they've paid to be there, and they've got dodgy testimonials they bought from Fiverr, which says, I worked with Graham and he was really good. You didn't know who this guy was before. And that's what it was. So yeah, it's interesting really. But yeah, no, so there was a rise of it, and I did it not just because I was interested in it. I thought it would help someone. Then I ended up getting like the legal challenges and getting sued and all that type of stuff. And that's why I stopped.
Yeah, because you're then exposed. I mean, there's just so much of it.
But go back to the thing though. I was exposing the techniques they were using and how they did it rather than individuals. And it goes back to this one thing. I didn't want to create a scapegoat, because if I go, this person is bad, someone else using exactly the same thing that isn't that person, you think, well, this one must be good. No, I'm just saying, if you notice this formula happening or these things happening, take a step back, relax, don't rush to the back of the room, just think about it. So let me go and research that guy properly. Let me go and see what he's really done. Let me go and see Company's House or whatever it might be before you buy from them, because they use all the things that we talk about, urgency, social proof, and stuff like that. And we go back, none of those things are bad if they're legitimate. You're targeting the right person with a real solution that works. But if I'm selling you something, how to scale your business to 10 million, and you don't even know how to get your first 2 customers, I think that's the wrong thing to be doing to people. Now, it's easier for me as a business to take you from 10 to 100 customers. That's why I prefer working with those people than it is to take you from 0 to 1. That's actually hard. It's easier for me to take you from being good to excellent than it is from taking you to being shit to good. That's a tough.
You can work with me then. You can work.
And I don't like it. And I don't like it. And that's the problem. There's too many. And again, so it goes back to the thing, like, I don't sell to everybody. I try and qualify them out at the beginning. Because what's the best form of marketing? Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Can anyone recommend that? Now you look how many of my customers say, I've worked with Mike and our leads have gone up. I did a post last week. The latest post on my LinkedIn is, it took 10 million to get 10 million in 4 years. It took a client revenue. The last 12 months, they've gone from 10 million to 20 million. What's the best form of marketing? Other people saying their results and their success since they've worked with you, but not because I've asked them to, not on my website. You won't find that on my website. And me going, here's someone from me. These are people saying, we work with these guys and we've tripled, quadrupled. And it's like, and what are we doing then? I'm getting people doing my marketing for me. Why? Because I'm good. But, you know, some people don't like having serious conversations, but most people aren't serious business people, or most people don't really want to put the graft in. What they want to do is, I want to make a podcast because it's the ego. My friends might watch it. You know, when was the last time you watched a podcast done by an accountant and you work in accountancy? Oh, well, mine will be different. No one cares. And then I hear another thing where I can invite industry leaders on and talk to them and maybe sell to them. It's a long ass way to get one sale. I can tell you a quicker way. Do you know what I mean? I could have done a podcast and invited every staging manager from the Premier League on, one a month, done research on him, traveled down there, shop for an hour, cobble it together, maybe make something worth interesting. Or I could have gone, make one video on how we helped Arsenal, go and pitch it to those other 19 Premier League clubs. I've 9 phone calls booked in 4 days. If the goal was to make more sales and make more revenue, I've just saved you 11 months hassle. None of this stuff is hard. But people would rather be told, oh, it's okay. It takes 3 months to get the algorithm kicked in and build your audience and people know who you are. You know what I mean? I've got a gardener. I'm selling a house at the moment. Who's just done my front and back garden. Some of my mates are gardeners. I didn't use them. Literally, there was a guy doing next door. I saw him. I was like, oh, can you do this after? Why? Because he was the first one I found and I saw his work. His work looked good. So I go, well, you're here. Boom, do this for us. That's how most people pick when they're, and that doesn't matter whether you're selling nuclear alarm systems or whether you're selling fire doors or you're buying and getting an accountancy. And by the way, also you've got to remember this as well, especially in a business setting. Say if I don't like my accountant, I'm the business owner. I'm probably not going to look now for different accountancies. What I'll do is probably delegate that task to someone in the office and I'll say, hey, Chris, the accountant's really shit. Go and get me a little short list of accountants that you think could do a good job for us. What's Chris going to do? He's going to go on Google and go, accountants in Warrington, probably pick a local option. Best accountants for marketing agencies, so some that specialize in my niche. And then he might pick a national because they're huge, they're a big name, everyone knows them. Then he's sending it to me. So he doesn't really know what he's looking for, to be honest. People are lazy, people are stupid. So he's gone and found what the quickest ones for me to find, and they look legit. So at least I ain't going to get trolled off by Mike for sending him shit suggestions. And that's how most businesses buy. The person doing the initial investigation or inquiries or research isn't the person that needs convincing or has the purse strings. Again, not always. There are some exceptions to this, but I'm just saying as a general rule, having done this for hundreds of businesses. So, you know, the number of times we speak to a business and then they go, that's brilliant. Now I need to go and take it to my boss or go back to him and tell him everything we had spoke about. So again, I'm lazy. So what have I created in my business? A piece of content that explains exactly that. So now when you compare me to the other 2 marketing agencies you've spoke to, I've got a video that explains exactly what we've said in 60 seconds. Here's exactly how we help businesses like yours. And that's how come I make more sales than most of these people. And after I sold my last business, just to say like an example, give you, they had 8 people in their sales team. I was on my own. They asked me to come back and they said, I don't understand how you made more sales on your own than we did with our 8 salespeople. And I said, because you're not following the process that I made. It's that easy. So I look at my sales team as I've got 20 salespeople that are pitch perfect, that work 24 hours a day, but they're in the places my ideal client looks for, or they're in the places they go to before they buy from me. And who are they? They're all me. They're all mini-me's that when you type my name to Google, you find them. When you go on my YouTube channel, you find them. When you go on my LinkedIn channel, you find them. So by the time they speak to me, most of them are like, and this is why people like you don't normally speak to me, Marianne, is because I've already scared you off before you've got there. So don't have to have that conversation. So what it is they go, I like the way he talks. I hate these soft, woolly personal brand people. That's not work for us, Mike. You've hit the nail on the head. Yeah, we actually need to sell photocopiers, solar panels. We sell air conditioning, ducting, whatever it might be. We like how you talk. So that's how come it works well, I think. And the results would probably say I'm right on that as well, by the way. It's not for everyone.
Great conversation. No, it won't be. It won't be for everybody. It will be for the right people at the right time.
Mm-hmm. But I'm yet to find a business that we can't improve somehow, even if it's your business isn't that good, or your pricing's all over, or the pricing you're telling me you want to sell and your goals that you've told me you want to achieve don't align.
I think actually, I know I've got to go there, Graham, but I think for someone, let's just say like me, who works in I'm going to say I work in a market that's flooded, but actually it's not, because I'm like the bit that should be at the beginning, so that you didn't have all these people thinking that they could do all that stuff, because I'm there going, you think you can do this, but you absolutely can't, because, and I heard something interesting on Facebook, somebody saying about courses just don't work. So we ended up having a conversation, and it was like, no, courses don't work when they are just courses that people have just literally flung out there because, whatever. So I'm sort of right back there. And actually, someone like me needs to hear that actually, what you do is of massive value, because it is of massive value. There's not that many people doing it, but they're not. And so I need to hear that and actually then go boldly and sell it for this, rather than selling it for that cheap price, which is where I said to Graham, I won't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people think I don't like courses, by the way. Again, it's a misconception. I sold courses. I made millions selling courses.
I think the problem,
help people.
I think there's courses and there's education, and I think that's a lot of where the actual problem is. And that's what this woman said. I think she was saying how courses don't help because all you're doing is selling, and they go and sit in someone's inbox. And I said, but that's a course. That's not education. That's because people aren't having to actually engage with it. And I think that's where, when you were saying, and it sort of resonated for me with bigger businesses, and the person I was approached from said, look, you've got something great here. Let's go and hit the bigger companies with it in the right way, rather than doing it at that sort of smaller level, that cheaper level. And that sort of resonated with me there, with that, if people haven't got that much money to spend, they are just going to go and spend that cheap bit. And that the reason I won't do that is just that's not where my values are.
No, and the way you position yourself and the content you create needs to stop those people getting in touch with you. So
Absolutely.
But by the way, just on this, but when it came to marketing my e-learning business, it was saving the world from boring e-learning. And part of the way I positioned myself was e-learning shit. And I know, because I make it. So, and I said, the problem with the people I'm competing with is they put too much importance on it. Like it's the be all and end all. This is going to teach you. But let's be honest now. And again, this is how I position myself and the way I used to talk about it in marketing. I was told, you're not going to be around in 3 months if you carry on talking about e-learning like this. And I said, I think you're wrong. Anyway, they were one of the businesses that inquired about me and offered me $7 million for the business, which I turned down 2.5 years later because I took so many customers from them. But I said, I personally think that the best form of learning comes through actually doing it. So e-learning is the least important part of training, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's good for introducing languages, concepts, and ideas before classroom learning and then before on-the-job learning, or as a refresher course afterwards. So let's stop saying it's the be-all and end-all. By the way, that's what I sold. So I positioned it as E-learning is a
Is it?
small,
Absolutely, yeah.
important part, but the best learning. So let's make it short. Let's make it engaging so that you get more out of your classroom training or more out of your on-the-job learning. If you work on the shop floor, how to upsell when you're at the till. Let's just say it's a retail course. How to upsell at the, oh, you bought a pair of trousers. Have you seen these belts that go with them trousers? Boom. There's the learning, right? Do you need a 45-minute, 2-hour course to do that? No. You've got geeks that know all about learning that have done that to try and justify the stupid value for it, like the price. Where I said, here's your skill that you can learn in like 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Now go and put this into practice on the shop floor with the next 5 customers that come along with some trousers. Who's going to learn more? They've already asked now 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 customers before they finish that e-learning course. That's how I did my e-learning business. None of my courses were more than 5 minutes long.
Yeah, you met the need where the need was.
Absolutely.
And you got people interested in learning.
But I started on day one knowing this is because I want to sell this business in 3 years for 10 million quid. So I knew what price do I need to sell? Who do I need to target? What price do I need to sell it at?
Yeah.
Like most people, like, why have you picked that price? Oh, I'm doing it because Jane charges that, so we're a little bit cheaper than her. Well, Jane's probably got it wrong. Like, do you want to be competing with Jane, or do you want to be competing with the best in the world? Or let's go and look at the best. And that's the first stage I do with any customer. I do a consultation research where I go and see who is the best in the world in their niche. And then I look at where they are. And I always say, like, win your league is a metaphor that I use. If you are in the National League or League Two, I'm talking football now, why are you asked what Real Madrid are doing? Like, you're not at that level. So what you need to do is, how do I get out of the National League, or how do I get out of League Two? Go and be the best in Warrington first, then go and be the best in the Northwest, and then go and be the best in England, best in the world. What Coca-Cola do for their marketing, and I see all these people on LinkedIn going, oh, that marketing's genius. That's genius. Is it? I think you don't understand what genius means. You can't apply it to your business. And it goes back to the podcast. Them starting a podcast at their point in the journey, sound, but they've made millions and millions of pounds. They can chill out. They can do the research. They can do it. You've not got any customers and you're talking about a podcast. Like, so stop doing what Champions League clubs are doing now. If you're in League Two, go and win League Two first. And you've got to do direct approaches, easiest route to sale. Make it as easy to understand what you do. Make your business idiot proof. So my business was Learning Heroes. And if I said to you, what does Learning Heroes do? It's difficult. If I went Learning Heroes, saving the world from boring learning as a tagline, power statement, straight away now, it already explains what you do. And that's the number of businesses I say, what's your business called? And they go, oh, it's called Swampify, because me and my ex-husband first met like in a swamp, and it's Greek for this. And it's like, sound, but I don't know what Swampify is. But if you went, I don't know, septic tank solutions, there's half your marketing done for you. Like, stop. But someone has taught them this thing about getting their brand all sorted first. I didn't have a website for 2 years. People talk about logo, branding, and all that stuff. You don't. Literally need to go, can I demonstrate to this small number of people? And I always go back to how many customers do you actually need? I've not spoken to a business yet that needs 30,000 customers. I've not spoken to a business that needs 10,000 customers. I talk to most people and they go, 25 customers and we're fully booked, or only 10 customers. So if you're only really marketing and selling to 10 people, so why do you need 80,000 followers? Because someone has taught you that that's impressive.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the
Then
case.
scares
Right?
a lot of people off when they're smaller.
Yep.
But I don't use any other social media. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Instagram. I am on LinkedIn because that is literally a directory to speak to the person I sell to.
Yeah.
And then I know, where do these people go after they see me on LinkedIn? They're going to type my name or business name into Google. So I need to be on YouTube to make sure that it pulls my videos through first. And I need to put those videos on my website. So when you're doing stuff like, oh, we're dancing about on TikTok, you're an accountant. Why the f are you dancing about on TikTok for? But if my customers come and go, we're an accountant, I can go, we can shit over these really easily because they are messing about and I don't take them seriously, and neither do most of the people that you sell to. You're not going to choose an accountant because he can sing well or play the guitar. Does your accountant play the guitar? Was that something you looked at before you bought it from him?
No.
Exactly.
No, but there's plenty of people on LinkedIn telling you that that's what you should be doing, right? Inject some of your personality into it. Like, I've got zero personality.
wouldn't
but I
say
get
that,
results.
Mike.
I don't like my lawyer. I don't like my solicitor. I don't need to like my accountant. But I tell you what, they all do a good job. That's the only reason I use them. And if anyone said to me, can you recommend someone? I go, oh, he's good. Not cheap, but he's good. That's it. I don't go, oh, you want to check my account out? It's brilliant. You want to hear the chords he plays? Fantastic. Oh, yeah, by the way, HMRC have still chasing me for backdated problem. We don't do that, do we? But I see those people because that's easy content to make, and it's the illusion that we're actually doing work. So make less content, make better content, and put it in the places that your ideal client looks for. And this is easy. So yeah, so it's like the initial
and that's
research.
a nice
and
soundbite.
like, yeah. So,
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
all right.
Very much for coming
Giving
on.
us some of your time.
Did
today.
I sound arsey? Did I sound
hope
as
so. I hope
arsey in real
so.
life as you thought? It was?
Well, I think it's kind of what I needed to hear today, actually.
Well, there's nothing wrong with RC, is there? What's wrong with RC? I think we all need a bit of... Yeah, but
You can be nice about things, but sometimes people just have to hear it.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, you were Mike, and that's all that matters. Thank you for coming on. Thanks, Marianne, as well. And thank you for listening, watching, or whatever it is that you did. We'll be back same time, same place next week with more of the same. But until then,